I'm mentoring my 6th year teaching in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and through many conversations with other educators, I've come to internalize a message that at this point in my career, I'm expected to plateau in my practice. There is a great deal of research that supports this phenomenon. However, there is also compelling research that says the opposite, that under the right conditions and with the right opportunities, I can continuously grow in my practice and improve student outcomes. My colleagues and I seek to outline what conditions we believe are the key levers to making this possible. We believe teacher leadership is the most powerful method of improving teacher practice and student outcomes, and that the new federal law, Every Student Succeeds Act, creates this opportunity by way of teacher-led professional development and career ladders. There truly is no other stakeholder who is better positioned than teachers to support the implementation of this law. So it is time to professionalize teaching. At all levels of ESSA implementation, teacher voice must be present.
ESSA needs to be implemented at the local, district, and state level, where there are different key factors and stakeholders who must work in collaboration with teacher leaders to ensure effective implementation. At the local school level, differentiation is key to sustaining teacher development and retention. Principals need to understand that professional development needs to be differentiated based on experience level, grade level, and content area of the teacher. And who better to provide that professional development than teachers themselves? At the district level, specificity and collaboration are keys to ensuring that schools receive the type and level of professional development that best meets their needs. Superintendents must provide a menu of options to schools to allow for teacher voice around their area of growth, because a generic one-size-fits-all professional development does not recognize the intricacies of content-specific contexts or sociocultural diversity. At the state level, dissemination of best practices and resources is key to ensuring equity for all students. The Department of Education must work alongside teacher leaders to ensure that we are developing a robust teaching force dedicated to student growth.
ESSA calls teacher leaders to action. In thinking about further professionalizing the career of education, we need to make a paradigm shift. Teachers are leaders as well as resources, and we need to think about their growth, their advancement, and their retention. With this frame in mind, schools must consider compensation, and that's not just financial, it's also in terms of time as well as training and development. The structures for this training and development could include instructional learning teams as well as professional learning communities. In my own experience facilitating a professional learning community in a school and a district that was piloting their ESL program, teachers were supported to pursue their dual licensure in content and ESL, thereby developing and advancing their career. Districts and states can provide further incentive through career ladders and career matrices, including hybrid roles. For early career teachers, this also provides a trajectory for their professional growth.
While we have several recommendations, all of which have been outlined in the Teach Plus memo that the judges have all gotten, one example is around measuring the extent to which professional development impacts teacher practice and student outcomes. On this slide, you'll see the demographics of my own classroom. I work as a kindergarten sheltered English immersion teacher in a Boston public school. All of my students are newcomers to my class, which means that they either don't speak any English or they speak very little English. They came to me not knowing how to read any sight words, and within the first 8 months of school, 3/4 of them either met or exceeded statewide reading benchmark levels. And so we were able to do this because our grade level team met once a week to discuss topics that were impacting the work that we were doing at the time. We also all took turns to facilitate in our own areas of expertise, and all of this work really helped to create ownership in the work that we do as teachers.
Right on time. Good job. Thank you. Okay, so the first judge that we'll select to give feedback to this team will be Chris Minnick.
Great job, guys. Great job. So I thought up front, one of the things that hooked me, and I sort of think like policymakers because I'm engaged with them all the time, is that you myth busted right up front about sort of the myth that teachers plateau in their performance. That was a great example, and it got me engaged in the in the presentation right away. So thank you for that. I would say language matters a lot also. So one of you said principals need to understand, and I think that could be phrased something like principals, or working with principals, we will help them see, or something to that effect, because the last thing a policymaker wants to be told is that they need to understand something, let alone my 4-year-old doesn't want to be told that either, but yes. So I think language matters big time. The ideas in this memo and the ideas you presented are excellent. I think getting now to the point where when you have more than 4 minutes with a policymaker, make sure you are doing this 4 minutes, and then right after that you start talking about what you need them to do, because you got me bought in, right? I'm ready to go do this for you, but I don't know what I need to do next. So make sure you're trying to get to the place of giving them feedback on what that needs to look like. So let's see, what's Rachel talked a little, why don't you talk about this?
Is that how this is working now?
Yeah.
I thought we were supposed to slide a card over to you.
Okay, all right, then I'll talk about it. That's fine.
I can't read my writing.
Yeah, well, that's
There's the problem. I can do it.
okay.
We may go over the 4 minutes here. I just want to applaud you and recognize that important foundation that you started out with around the teacher voice and teacher growth being really critical foundation to professional development and to professional learning teams as you move forward, as well as tying that into some sort of career ladders and career future for teachers as well. And then probably the one other piece that really jumped out for me was at your end slide when you talked about measuring effectiveness. I think from, again, a policy perspective, spending a little more time and thinking about the detail related to student outcomes is an important element as well, to be able to communicate to policymakers and to parents how the time that's being used for the professional development is really helping student outcomes. Being able to articulate that at a level that policymakers and parents and communities understand, I think would be really valuable.
Yeah, please, Stephanie, we have 1 minute left. So.
Oh, sorry, I'll make it fast. I like at the very end, the last teacher who spoke, that sort of personalizing the narrative to make it not some abstract concept, but these are real kids in a real school. I think that was fantastic.
Yes, just that from the very beginning you started with that there's no one-size-fits-all approach, and you talked about differentiation, a menu of options, and equity. I would encourage you to have a plan for what that looks like, because I've mastered the art of having solutions for my principal's problems, because he would see this as, how are we going to incorporate all of this into a professional development schedule? So just to say we already have it and kind of map that out. And then the other thing that has teacher written all over it is that this is very reflective. At the end you say you're going to measure the effectiveness and continuously adapt and modify. I think oftentimes policymakers have gotten so used to doing things that they know don't work. So in true teacher fashion, you've built in that reflective piece. Nice job.